Welcome back to In the Zone. I'm your host, Aaron Chun. With spring training wrapping up, March Madness officially beginning tonight, an update in the NBA, and much more. There's a lot to talk about. In the Zone starts now. Joining me on desk this week is Ashton and Zach Humphreys. The MLB season has officially began with the Tokyo series featuring the Cubs and Dodgers. Thanks to an impressive fifth-inning performance, the Dodgers carried the momentum to a 4-1 victory, beginning their chase to another World Series title. It was an early morning affair, with the action starting around 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Ashton, did you catch any of the game? Who stood out to you the most?
I think stood out to me. Well, obviously, I'm a Phillies fan. We all know this. We all know I'm a Phillies fan. I love the Phillies. They've been doing really well in spring training right now, and hopefully they continue that winning process of their spring training winning game streak right now. And I think they're going to make it all the way with the Baltimore Orioles. With another team that I really like. I'm also a Dodgers fan. I love the Dodgers because of Shohei Ohtani. That's how I say his first name.
Yeah, and Ohtani had a good game today. Did you see that? What do you think of how he performed?
I think he did really well. I think he played really well. I like him as hitting, but it's kind of sad that he's not doing the pitching.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be back soon, but going back to Japan for him, he wasn't the only one. Imanaga on the Cubs and Yamamoto all coming back to Japan. I'm sure that was great for them. Zach, I don't know if you caught any of the game. Obviously, 6 a.m. time. I was still asleep, but
yeah, I'll tell you
any
what,
highlights? What did you see?
I caught nothing but the highlights. Because if you think for a second I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to watch a game, you're crazy. Especially if it's not, if it's just to watch the Dodgers beat the Cubs. I mean, that's not much of a surprise. Although, if we're talking about people that kind of stood out, you already mentioned it. Yamamoto looked great on the bump already. He threw 5 and only had 1 earned run, which to start the season is actually really good, and I think, like you mentioned, just bringing it back to like the Tokyo series, branching out. I love every bit of it. Yeah. I feel like we got to keep this up. Also, like the NFL is doing, start branching out to other countries or continents, stuff like that. Other than that, I think that 5th inning, where the Dodgers top half of the lineup, they deserve a lot of the kudos as well, because just them continuously getting on base, putting the ball in play, and making things happen was the secret to leading them to that victory.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They do need to start branching out more. I mean, I know they've also started with the Mexico series. I think last year was Astros and Rockies, which I don't know why they put the Astros against the Rockies. That feels cruel, but I think you're right. Yeah, that 5th inning was huge for them. I mean, the Cubs took out Imanaga, which I thought was the weird thing. He was going through 4 innings, no hits allowed, but it's early in the season. They typically don't let pitchers go on as long. For the other 28 teams, though, spring training continues to march on. As rosters begin taking shape, we've seen tons of great and not so great performances this spring. While it's ill-advised to take too much stock into spring training performances, plenty of players are giving us reasons to be excited and leaving us with some very hot takes. Zach, who have been your standout performers this spring, and what is your hottest take as the season looms around the corner?
100%. So we'll start with the standouts. And, of course, as we're local to Philadelphia and we're Phillies fans here, as much as I don't want to say it, Taijuan Walker has been really doing a standout job down there. I don't want to say it because we all know how the Phillies play later down the line, or at least how Taijuan Walker performs on the bump. He didn't look very sharp last year. I'm hoping, it obviously appears that this offseason he really took time to develop his game, develop his pitches, and especially his location, and truly try to use that as an attack for those hitters. Other than him, I think another pitcher, Bubba Chandler, especially with a Paul Skeens already in that lineup, who's the face of that franchise already, to have a guy like literally Batman to his Robin, SpongeBob to his Patrick, I could go down the line, but you know, I think we pick up what I'm putting down here, where like if Bubba Chandler gets going and actually begins to make his debut and keeps up what he's doing now, I think that rotation could be really, really scary.
You also talk about those two, and I think another guy that gets forgotten, Jared Jones, looked electric when he debuted. I mean, things kind of went up and down for him throughout the season, but he's another really good young pitcher. And I think you make a good point about Taijuan Walker. He looks a lot better this year. And, you know, you think, knock on wood, of course, but you think about how 2023, his first year with Philadelphia, went, and it went fine. I think if that's the pitcher you're going to get, out of him again come 2025, with the amount of options they have in the rotation, I mean, Adam Luzardo, they have Andrew Painter waiting in the wings. Joe Ross is probably going to fill a Turnbull-esque role, so he could come and pitch in the rotation every now and then. I think this team's all set.
That's good.
Ashton, what have you seen so far that you've liked?
I'm going to go with the Cinderella, so I'll probably say Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt, I love Bobby Witt. I think he's going to have a good season this year. And I'm going to go with another one. I probably have to go with Ali Watchman. I think Ali Watchman is looking really great this year as well. And he's also one of my favorite catchers in the league.
I think you're right with the Rutschman, too. The Orioles need to see more out of him than they did in the second half last year. He was a non-factor. He was a big reason that ship started sinking. But I think you're right. He has looked a whole lot better. Ashton, do you have any big predictions for this year?
Big predictions, I'll probably say, I see the Phillies make to the World Series.
That's what I like to hear. I want to see
Philly and Baltimore make it. Another one I want to see is the Red Sox.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox.
I think the Red Sox might do it. I don't want to see the Yankees in the. Come on.
I don't know about the Yankees. I'm not sure, especially with the news about Garrett Cole.
I hate the Yankees. I hate the trade with stupid Soto going to the freaking Mets. Like, come on.
Zach, what are your thoughts? Any big predictions here?
My big prediction, it's finally going to happen this year. Zach Wheeler is going to win his Cy Young Award. There's nothing that Paul Skeens or Blake Snell or Livy Dunn have anything to do about it. Zach Wheeler is going to get it done, and he's going to lead that team, hopefully, like we said, through a deep playoff run. And you hinted on it. I think I mentioned it last time I was on desk, Red Sox. I had a good feeling. Now I really think that they could really come out on top in that competitive AL East.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing really holding the Red Sox back is some of their pitching concerns, especially I know it's got a couple of guys that are already dealing with injuries. Brian Bellows, a big guy for them, dealing with some injuries. I think kind of wrap things up for me. I mean,
give us your hot takes. Come on, what you got? We know you have some.
So last year, I said Jose Alvarado was going to win reliever of the year. He came off an electric second half in 2022. 2023, he got injured a little bit, but he was still looking good when he was on the mound. Last year just didn't really have it, was kind of inconsistent. This year, he's coming out in spring training. It is March right now. It is March, and he is throwing 102 miles per hour. It's going to be August. He might be throwing 110 miles per hour. They're going to study his arm in a lab. But, of course, I'm still thinking Phillies, Red Sox World Series. I'm thinking Phillies in 6, World Series MVP. I'm going to say Christopher Sanchez. The NCAA March Madness tournament is officially starting tonight with the first 4 games tipping off. The round of 64 will begin March 20th after a controversial selection Sunday surrounding the North Carolina Tar Heels. During a down season, the Tar Heels were one of the last 4 teams in hoping to keep their hopes alive to join the round of 64. Meanwhile, fans are questioning if they even deserve it over teams like West Virginia or Indiana. Ashton, do you believe North Carolina deserves a spot in the tournament?
North Carolina. I've heard so many things with North Carolina. I don't really think so.
Yeah.
I don't really think so. They're a good team, but I don't know if they're going to make it or not.
Yeah.
But I do think, I'm a Clemson fan. I want Clemson to make it. I would say all the way, but there might be some teams that they might struggle with.
Yeah.
And don't get me started with Duke. Or Penn State. I hate Penn State. I hate Duke. I don't like them. I'm Clemson and Michigan
Penn State's
State.
not even in the tournament.
Settle down. All right. Zach, what do you think? Do you think that North Carolina deserved their spot?
Not even close. I mean, Ashton, you nailed it. Where I was sitting there in front of my TV watching Selection Sunday. And North Carolina came up, and I almost spilled all of my Lucky Charms. It was just one of those things where if it wasn't for the North Carolina logo or that color or just the general history with that program, they wouldn't be in the first place. Because you look at a team like West Virginia, who I believe should have deserved it. They were looking real good. They were 6-10 in quad one wins. North Carolina one was 1-12 throughout the entire season. That is no bueno, no matter what team you are going into this tournament. And when you've got a team like West Virginia, yeah, it has nothing to bring to the table compared to North Carolina or, like you say, Duke, one of those teams with a lot of historical stance. Right. I think West Virginia was snubbed horribly. And I really hope that they go on and win the NIT completely, but that's not going to really matter to them because they want to be in this tournament. And I bet if they were in, they would beat San Diego State tonight and make it to the tournament. Yeah, I mean, you think about how demoralizing that's also got to feel for those players who, work their butts off to try to get into the tournament. And I think you guys are right. They definitely deserve their spot over North Carolina. I mean, again, you think about how demoralizing that is for players, for fans, just to go and watch North Carolina probably put up a wet fart against San Diego State. All right, let's send it over to Emma Hazard for an update in Marauder Athletics. Emma?
Thanks, Aaron. Millersville's baseball team dominated with a record of 6-0 this past week, taking home an 8-3 win at Jefferson, and later that week, scoring the most runs at a home game since 2015 against Ville, winning 19-5. Later that week, the team scored 5 runs in the 7th inning for a 10-5 win against Ville and played on Cooper Field's first ever night game on Friday, the first in the program's 136 years. They finished off spring break with a doubleheader sweep against Lock Haven with scores of 9-2 and 10-4 on Saturday. They'll compete against Frostburg State tomorrow at 3 o'clock in what will be a rematch of the 2024 regional. Several other MU teams played over the break, including women's lacrosse, who fell to New Haven in their first loss of the season, men's tennis, rounding out their trip to South Carolina with a win against Thomas More on Friday, and women's golf, who won their opening schedule at the LeBron Valley College Spring Invitational. Men's basketball had a heartbreaking loss this past week, just coming up short in overtime in an 89-87 loss against the number 1 seed Gannon in the PSAC semifinal, ending their season. We're now going to send it back to the desk to talk about March Madness. Aaron?
Thanks, Emma. Sticking to the college hardwood, the bracket is officially set and fans are filling out brackets as we speak, with many choosing some heavy favorites like Duke and Florida to take home the national championship, but also sprinkling in some of their favorite upsets as well. Zach, who do you believe to be your favorite to bring the title home, and who is on upset watch?
I believe when it comes to, when you talk about the favorites, the big question with Duke, as we all know, is if Cooper Flagg can be healthy. He went out in the ACC tournament with an ankle injury. He's looking like he's ready to get back out on the hardwood and play. They are easily the best ACC team, and there's a lot of people saying that they have the easiest path. They really do if Cooper Flagg can stay healthy. Florida's getting a lot of praise, and they deserve it. I believe that they're an automatic Final Four bid. And I believe those two are pretty safe. I would also mention Alabama. They are also in the same pool as Duke, and it's something about that offense where once they get going, it is difficult to stop. You know, they can easily put up 100 points a game against anybody. So I feel like those are, when you talk about favorites, those have to be your top 3. Even though Alabama was seeded as a 2, they could easily be a top 3, top 4 team in the entire nation. But when we're talking about upsets, my mind can't help but think of Big Ten teams. Right. Where I just don't think the Big Ten, except Michigan State. Michigan State has really gone out there and they've proven their team and proven their dominance. There's a reason why they're a 2 seed. Except them, there hasn't really been like a consistent 2 or 3 or 4 best team in the Big Ten. That's why you have teams like Purdue that's on upset watch. Or in my opinion, I think Wisconsin, number 3, is going to be knocked out by number 4 team Montana. I think there's a reason why Michigan, number 5, is on lookout watch. They got a bad pool against UC San Diego. I'm telling you, UC San Diego is making it to the Sweet 16. It's happening, okay? I just don't believe in any. They have a lot of teams in this tournament. The Big Ten has a lot of representation. I just don't think out of them and Maryland, I don't think there's much to really give.
I think you make a good point about Duke, going back to what you said about Cooper Flagg. I mean, in theory, they have a very easy path to get all the way, and I think Cooper Flagg's going to be a big part of that. But he's been such a key contributor for them. You get any bit of him that's a little bit off, a little bit kind of worn down by his injuries, and I think all of a sudden you're asking a bunch of different questions about Duke. Like, do they have enough to still keep that path relatively easy for them? Ashton, what are your thoughts so far? Who are some of your favorites to take the title home? Who do you think's an upset watch?
I think I'll start with upsets. I think the upsets will probably be like, I say Gonzaga and Purdue.
Okay.
I think they're both, I think they're underdogs of the same two teams. I think they're really good. They have some good players. Obviously, I'm not going to go with UCC because I'm not a big fan of them, but I don't see them making it to the Sweet 16.
Okay. You had them in shock over Purdue.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with Purdue, but like Gonzaga, really,
I think they're good.
I think Houston is on upset watch if Gonzaga beats Georgia, which I think is
think
going to
it's
happen.
Gonzaga.
I think poor Houston had a poor pool. I don't know. I'm just going to let you keep going. I don't know.
I think it's
delusions.
Gonzaga. They had some good players. That's what I'm saying. They had some good players on their team. But I also do think I'd go with my favorites, Michigan State and Clemson, because I think Michigan State's a little bit better than Clemson.
Yeah.
If any of those two teams make it to the Sweet 16, I'd be very happy. Same thing with Villanova, but I would see them making it. But
yeah, Villanova didn't make it this year, but you know.
Alabama's a great team. We got some really great teams going into, Sweet 16s and whatever. But my two main reasons. Penn State ain't gonna make it, Chief.
Okay, we get it.
All right,
okay.
all right.
We
Settle
were bad
down.
this year.
We are going to move on and take a look into the NBA. Teams across the league are looking to put themselves in a position for a postseason appearance or working to hold the top seed in their conference. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been red hot since the Super Bowl, with the Magic ending their 16-game winning streak finally, putting Cleveland 7.5 games ahead of the second-place Celtics. In the West, the OKC Thunder sit comfortably 12.5 games ahead of the Rockets and Nuggets as well. Ashton, with the playoffs tipping off in about a month, what are your predictions for the end of the NBA season?
For one of the sides, I'll probably say OKC.
Okay.
OKC, definitely. They're insane. My favorite is actually Shea Gilgeous. Man, it's insane. I love him. Cleveland, I was not expecting them to lose.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that to lose. I do like Magic, because of Mac McClung, Big Pelabon Kalo. But for my predictions, I would see the finals would be, I think it might be the Nuggets. I think Nuggets might make it. I really want the Lakers to make it, but I don't know if they're going to do it. Sixers suck. They're not going to do anything. But there are some teams that are out there that are looking pretty tough out there. I'll probably say Cleveland and the other team that I said in the finals. Cleveland and the Nuggets.
Cleveland and the Nuggets.
I'd like to see that.
That'd be interesting. Zach, what are your thoughts? How do you think it's going to shake out?
Yeah, no, 100%. I believe that as much as it pains all of us sports fans to say, you can't just. The Cleveland Cavaliers are doing really good. You just can't block out the Celtics. They're just a team that you never know what team's going to show up when it comes to that 7-game series, and you know they're going to give it their all.
Right.
Cleveland is looking really good. Like you said, they were on a 16-game win streak that began the day of the Super Bowl, and then now just ended. And I feel like Super Bowl was forever ago.
Yeah.
You know, so that Cleveland team is looking really good. You do mention the Thunder as well. With SGA, I mean, you've got a great team back there. They're really young. They can really carry it forward. I think the West is going to be really interesting. I'm more than impressed with the Rockets continuing their success to be that 2 seed right now. And especially with how the plans are going, I feel like you can't that West could go one way or another. Either way, I think the Thunder and I feel like it could be easily Cleveland Thunder, but, you know, we'll see how things shake up, especially down in that West.
I think, though, easily Cleveland is pretty big favorite to find their way all the way to the big game.
Especially, you know, like with the like you said, I mean, but with the Lakers, I mean, I've just got one thing to say. Raw in the zone, wings by the bone, about to go home.
Oh,
Lakers in 5.
Oh, whatever.
Lakers in 5.
Lakers are gonna make it. Come on. Blondie, they're gonna make it, dude.
Well, I think my big prediction, I think finally, some point towards the end of the year, we will see Joel Embiid play another basketball game. That'll do it for this episode of In the Zone. From Zach Humphreys, Ashton Lagos, Emma Hazard, and the entire In the Zone crew, I'm your host, Aaron Chun. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time right here on In the Zone.